The modern automobile is an incredible feat of engineering and science. And it's so different from what our grandparents and our great-grandparents used to drive. I mean, the engines are different, the way we build them is different, the chassis are different. One of the biggest differences, however, is the tire. And we are here in Torino, Italy, at the National Automotive Museum to look at their tire exhibit. It gives you the history of the tire, shows you where it started and where we are now. And I think that by the time this video is over, you're gonna feel this uncontrollable urge to go and find a tire engineer somewhere, give them a hug, and thank them. So this over my right shoulder is where it all began. It's a basic wooden wheel, except in this case, it's wrapped in metal to make it a bit more resistant to wear and tear. Now, you're not going to want to hug an engineer for this one, but wait, it gets better. Our next stop on this history tour takes us to 1890, and for this one, you're going to want to find a Michelin tire engineer and hug him. So what you see over here on over my right shoulder is a rubber wheel. It's solid rubber, but the one over here in 1900, also from Michelin, is made out of rubber, but it's got air in it. So solid rubber, rubber with air. Huge jump from the wooden wheel, huge jump from the wooden wheel wrapped in metal. It was a lot more quiet and it offered a lot more grip. All right, for this next one, you're still going to want to find a Michelin engineer to hug and thank them. Over here, over my right shoulder, we're in 1903. This is when Michelin decided that their rubber tires, they decided we're going to protect them, but this is freaky. They decided they're going to protect them by wrapping them in chainmail. Thankfully, it didn't last long. And over here, over my left shoulder, is 1906. And the big innovation here is how the tires are put on and taken off the vehicle. You'll see that around the rim, there's a total of 8 nuts. So they were now able to undo those nuts, take the tire off, put a new one on, and they were able to change tires that way a lot more quickly. Our next stop in tire history brings us to 1906. And for this one, you're going to want to let go of the Michelin engineer that you're hugging and start hugging a Pirelli engineer. Over my right shoulder is a tire from 1906 that's made out of leather. And actually, it's the first example of a studded tire. Because over the leather, you'll see that there's nails that have been nailed into the tire, for lack of a better word. And this was to improve durability and to increase grip. Over my left shoulder, 1907, is the first use of carbon black, which is the material that makes tires black. Stop hugging the Pirelli engineers, start hugging the Michelin engineers again. This takes us to 1927 and 1946, when Michelin started putting different materials inside the rubber. Metal wires, nylon, rayon, all to reinforce the carcass of the tire, to strengthen the bead that keeps the tire on the rim, and to make the whole thing more comfortable, more durable. This is starting to look like the tires that all of us drive on today. This is our last stop on the tire tour. If the 2 tires behind me look like what's on your vehicle, they are. This stop really has to do more with the wheels than the tires. Steel, different alloys. Steel is heavier, alloys are lighter. And the lighter they are, the more they'll roll easily, the better the braking, the better the performance. So certainly we've come a long way since the wooden wheel, the wheel wrapped in metal, the freaky wheels wrapped in leather, those wrapped in chainmail. If you're not grateful to the engineers that came up with what we see behind us, you're not paying attention. Imagine driving the modern vehicle on some of those older tires. Joy would be gone, the performance would be gone. It would truly be a miserable experience. So clearly we've come a long way since this was the norm. We've seen how tire technology has evolved and advanced and improved our enjoyment of our vehicles. So what's next? Is that it? Are tires as good as they're going to get? Well, no, engineers are still working on ways to improve tires, to make them last longer, to give them more grip, especially in winter. They're using recycled materials in order to build tires that are greener and better for the environment. So although we've come a long way from this, I gotta believe that there's so much more that the tire industry is gonna see. Find a tire engineer, hug them, and thank them that you're not driving on tires like this.